updated but not inundated during Trump's presidency for the next 4 years and beyond with our new broadcast. I'm Nikki, your host for today. Number 1, tariffs. On Monday, Trump imposed 25% tariffs on products from Canada and Mexico and 10% on products from China. Already, stocks have dropped and U.S. consumers have shouldered the rise in costs. The tariffs are allegedly in retaliation to illegal immigration and fentanyl. The White House has also threatened the European Union with a similar tariff. However, hours after these tariffs were imposed on Canada and Mexico, a 30-day pause was granted with the promise of more border and drug trafficking controls. While the future of tariffs on Mexico's and Canada's products are still uncertain, the tariffs on products from China have already gone through. In 2021, Chinese products accounted for over half of U.S. imports, but that amount has been steadily decreasing as the trade relationship between the U.S. and China has deteriorated. Even in 2024, Chinese products accounted for 29% of all U.S. imports, so this new 10% tariff will still affect U.S. consumers. For more information, please see the links in the description. Number 2, January 6th. 30 federal prosecutors have been fired this week. Their main connection is that all 30 of them prosecuted terrorists who attacked the White House on January 6th. This occurred just days after President Trump provided clemency for more than 1,500 people charged in the U.S. Capitol attack. About 24 employees at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington were also terminated alongside the prosecutors. The Trump administration gave no official reason for any of these firings, but has been documented saying that a review process of the Justice Department would be carried out to determine whether any additional personnel actions are necessary. For more information, please see the links in the description. Number 3, the attack on U.S. holidays. The U.S. government plans to no longer officially recognize 11 special observances, which include Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Black History Month, Holocaust Remembrance Days, Women's History Month, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Juneteenth, Pride Month, Women's Equality Day, National Hispanic Heritage Month, Disability Employment Awareness Month, and National American Indian Heritage Month. The directive comes as the Trump administration has made it a top priority to eliminate any programs promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in the federal government. Resource groups, affinity groups, and employee networking groups were also paused effective immediately upon issuance of the memo. For more information, please see the links in the description. That's all for news updates. Thank you for tuning in. New videos drop about twice a month, maybe more, maybe less. To end on a more uplifting note, I'd like to share a few books I'm reading and pull a card for February's outlook. I just finished reading Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi so I can be ready for the movie rendition dropping in 2027. Right off the bat, I loved it. I've always talked about how it seems good magical things only happen to white kids, but this definitely changes that trend. The world building is a little simplistic. For example, the country is named Orisha and its capital is Lagos, which kind of takes away a little from the fantasy aspect. However, the relationships, the growth of the characters, and above all, the writing more than make up for it. My other slight complaint, and no fault to the author or story, is that it just wasn't queer enough for me. So to remedy that, I started another book called Guava Flavored Lies by J.J. Arias, which is about 2 Cuban women in Miami who come from rival baking families. Each family believes the other stole their cacheta and pastelitos recipes and have been feuding their perspective for 3 generations. Perhaps if they fall in love, the whole feud might be laid to rest. I've yet to finish it, but so far it's the lesbian telenovela Hallmark book I've been needing. Now on to the reading. This time I'm using a deck by Rachel True. You might remember her as the only black girl on The Craft, one of the main characters from Half and Half, or as the pansexual love interest of one of the main characters on Once Upon a Time in Harlem. The 3rd season just came out last year and it's amazing. And as a mixed black woman who appreciated Rachel True growing up, I absolutely love this deck. So I also have a quartz stone and a labradorite here with me. always good to have some crystals. Again, you know, if this is not your thing, you can always cut off the video. I hope you appreciated all of the updates and some of the book reviews. But I like to leave it off on a spiritual note. You know, I just wanted to pull a card, you know, for the beginning of February. I did a reading for the beginning of the year. So I think I'll probably just end up doing one reading at the beginning of the month. Again, I'm not trying to restrict myself or limit myself. This may change, but for now, that's kind of the idea I'm thinking. So I'm gonna shuffle. And you can also take this time to just meditate. Think about how you want the month to look going ahead. What's coming up for you. All right, we got a card that fell out. 7 of Discs. Ooh. So one of the great things about this deck is that it comes with a book written by Rachel True. And she writes her own thoughts. She tells it's kind of a memoir even a little bit. She talks about her past, some of her struggles, things like that. And again, I really appreciate her story. I appreciate her wisdom, the things that she's experienced, especially as a mixed Black woman. But all right, so for the 7 of Discs, this is a time to be nurturing, to see what's pulling your attention. You can't really, because, you know, we try to keep things, you know, very audio and not so visual, especially in a world that's inundated with bright screens and lights and whatnot. But I'll just describe. So actually, I don't know if anyone's from a Christian background or a Jewish background. There's a place in the Old Testament that's described as the Valley of Bones. And on this card, you see this woman. It looks like she's tending to a garden, but it looks like skulls. And I'm seeing now, I don't think it's technically skulls, but baby heads. It's definitely got a weird or like a kind of a dark vibe, very but it's not actually dark. And you can see, you look closer, you see that she's pregnant. You see that these are baby heads. Again, no body, just baby heads. So it's definitely giving, you know, kind of a creepy vibe. But what I'm getting out of this is that if you have something that you're trying to create, it could be a baby, a real baby, but it could also be like a book or a project that you're working on. This is the time to nurture that. This is the time to bring it to fruition. And also, it's ugly. You know, when you are trying to bring about any type of project, it's long nights, it's not pretty, it's, you know, it's eating crappy food while you try to rush to finish a deadline. Also, when you're making a baby, that's not pretty. It's not as romantic or as fun, I think, as people try to make it out to be. Being pregnant is not fun or as romantic as we make it out to be. I just read a story on Reddit. This guy was like, my wife is treating me like a servant because she's literally for like the past 6 months, she can't really keep any food down because she has, and I apologize, I could look up whatever it is, but this thing where you, instead of having morning sickness, you have nausea the whole time, all day, every day. You throw up every day, and it's really, really bad. So because of that, she can't go to work. She can't help around the house, none of that. She's just throwing up while she's trying to create life. And it's really unpleasant, and it can be unpleasant for people around you if you're really busy. You can't see your friends all the time. I really wanted to see one of them days again, and I didn't get to because I had I started a new job, and so I was still working. I didn't get a chance to see it, so that was kind of sad. But when you're building towards something, when you are in that heat, that mist of bringing life to fruition, bringing a project to fruition, it's going to be a little ugly. It's going to be hard. It's going to test you in different ways. That's what the Valley of Bones was. It was a place to be tested. So I hope that shed some light for you in the upcoming month. I hope you think about, what you're trying to bring about. It can be, anything that comes to mind. And of course, if you have some type of spiritual practice that you do, I really encourage you to focus on that, especially at the beginning of each month. life can get in the way. And, you know, the beginning of the month is a time to begin anew. Generally, the beginning of the month is the new moon. We just had a new moon. Actually, it's probably like a week now. So a little bit before the beginning of the month. But point being, it's to prepare for that next cycle, the next moon cycle, which is generally what our months should be built around. But anyways, I hope that helps and leaves you with something encouraging and interesting at the very least. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.